Hey YouTube, it's IC, and welcome to the 204th episode of Best Tech Info and Rumors. By saying I'm feeling a little bit under the weather today, so I'm going to try to make this week's episode shorter than normal. However, of course, there will be links to everything discussed down below in the more info. You can find in-depth articles linked to there, so if you want more information, just be sure to check out all of the articles on Best Tech Info. Now, starting off, let's talk about Apple's upcoming iPhone, the iPhone 6. In last week's episode of Best Tech Info and Rumors, there was some confusion surrounding the rumored 5.5-inch iPhone 6 variant. I did suggest that the device wouldn't be released alongside the 4.7-inch model, and yes, that is true based on recent rumors. The two devices won't be released side by side, and even a new report seems to suggest that, actually an exclusive from Best Tech Info as well as Evasion Jailbreak that was picked up throughout the Apple blogosphere, so I want to discuss that one first. So with less than a month between now and Apple's rumored September 9th event, at which the company is expected to reveal the long-awaited iPhone 6 to the world, this is undoubtedly an exciting time for Apple enthusiasts. And recently it seems like there's been a new leak related to the forthcoming device on almost a daily basis. And these latest images that I helped to publicize feature the 5.5-inch iPhone 6 rear housing compared against that of the 4.7-inch iPhone 6. And this image, like my previous coverage on the 4.7-inch iPhone 6, originate from my source deep within inside Apple's supply chain in China. And if you missed my earlier coverage on the device, I recommend watching it. In those videos, I detail the leaked back housing for the smaller 4.7-inch iPhone 6. As for a potential release though, my sources informed me that there are significant supply constraints for the part, indicating that what's currently pictured may very well be intended for prototype and testing purposes only. My sources have also informed me that a release of a 5.5-inch iPhone 6 version alongside the 4.7-inch model next month is, quote, unlikely, and that if the device is released, it will come later. So of course, just be sure to stay tuned for details on that. And also, if you're in the industry and you're concerned about the components or other iPhone 6 related components, just be sure to message me on Twitter at iCrackUriDevice. Now, moving on, I wanted to also discuss something else related to the iPhone 6, something that's actually pretty exciting. So recently, schematics that were leaked by a phone repair company by the name of GeekBar provide the first feasible evidence that Apple may increase the higher capacity iPhone model for their next generation smartphone to 128 gigabytes of storage. Furthermore, a leaked complementary supply list features entries for Toshiba and another supply company in the following capacities: 16, 64, and 128 gigabytes. And interestingly, the 32 gigabyte option, which has been available for a number of iPhone generations, is mysteriously excluded from the aforementioned list. Now, these recent reports seemingly solidify previous rumors that claim Apple has been developing a 128 gigabyte iPhone model. However, the previous conception was that Apple would nix the lower-end 16 gigabyte model while adding a 128 gigabyte variant into the mix and dropping the prices for the 32 and 64 gigabyte options. And now next up, also related to the iPhone 6, recently a French Apple-centered site by the name of iGen.fr publicized a number of purported details and specifications for the forthcoming iPhone 6, including dimensions, details shrouding the rumored protruding camera lens, code names for the device, and more. Now, the images appear to originate from inside of Foxconn, one of Apple's major manufacturing partners, and they also showcase the claimed 5.5-inch and 4.7-inch iPhone 6 models, codenamed N56 and N61 respectively. The report also seems to solidify other recent rumors, including the existence of the back antenna windows that span across the device, the new embedded Apple logo design, as well as a recent rumor that's been circulating as of late suggesting that the iPhone 6, like the 5th generation iPod Touch, will feature a protruding camera lens. Just be sure to check out the article linked to down below in the more info for all of that and more. Alright, next up, let's talk about iOS 8, specifically iOS 8 Beta 6. So if you have been following Apple's beta releases, it's likely that you would have expected iOS 8 Beta 6 earlier this week. And actually, over 2 weeks ago, Apple seeded iOS 8 Beta 5 to those enrolled in the company's iOS developer program. Again, strangely enough though, earlier this week, Apple merely released OS X Yosemite Developer Preview 6 without issuing iOS 8 Beta 6. And while I have highlighted all of the iOS 8 betas in the past, the updated iOS 8 Beta 6 firmware was allegedly released, just not to developers. Furthermore, a purported changelog for the iOS 8 Beta 6 firmware has also surfaced, which suggests that iOS 8 is nearing completion. And while it's unclear at the time whether Apple will move straight to releasing iOS 8 GM or simply release iOS 8 Beta 6 or another beta firmware to registered developers before actually pushing out the update next month, just be sure to stay tuned for complete details on iOS 8. And also really quick, for those of you who aren't familiar with the terminology, GM stands for Gold Master, which is essentially the finalized or production-ready version of a software prior to its actual public release. So, of course, just be sure to stay tuned for everything related to iOS 8, as well as Apple's upcoming iPhone 6. I also created another video earlier this week discussing the iPhone 6, and it actually went alongside the leaked images of the larger 5.5-inch iPhone 6 rear housing. Again, everything discussed in this week's episode can either be found down below in the More Info, on Best Tech Info, on my channel, or on Evasion Jailbreak. Also, speaking of jailbreaking, I wanted to discuss iOS 7.1.2 and the Pangu Untethered jailbreak briefly for those of you who are some of my newer viewers. So really quick again, iOS 7.1 through 7.1.2 are fully jailbreakable by way of Pangu. Again though, if you're new to the jailbreaking scene, I will have a link to my in-depth tutorial listed below that will walk you through all of the steps required to fully jailbreak iOS 7.1.2 untethered using Pangu. It's actually extremely simple. However, don't wait too long. As I've mentioned before, the Pangu jailbreak will undoubtedly be patched, most likely when Apple releases iOS 8 to the public. And also, as I've said before, this is actually a strange situation and it hasn't really occurred since the days of iOS 5.1.1 and the Absinthe 2 untethered jailbreak. Apple historically has patched jailbreak utilities prior to the next major installment of iOS being released. So this time around, it looks like iOS 7.1.2 may go unpatched until Apple releases iOS 8 to the public. However, if that's not the case, Apple will release iOS 7.1.3, and either way, just be sure to stay tuned to my channel. I will post complete videos and update you guys along the way. And also, for even more on iOS 8 as well as jailbreaking, just be sure to check out the last 2 episodes of Best Tech Info and Rumors. And for those of you interested in unlocking your iPhone for use on other carriers besides the one it was initially intended for, I am working in collaboration with Adrian and Mispa, who've worked with me in the past on Free App Life, on a new unlocking service that will allow users to again unlock their iPhones. And for more details on that, I am planning on updating you guys soon. And if you use Free App Life and you're interested in offers, or why some offers don't always complete, just be sure to check out a recent post that I wrote on Free App Life's Facebook page. You can find a link to it below or on facebook.com/Free App Life. And it also mentions how we're moving towards a 100% success rate of offers for Free App Life and how you potentially can help. And if you liked this week's episode and you're interested in my $100 Amazon giveaway, just be sure to rate it up and leave a relevant comment down below in the comment section. Once your comment's been posted, just be sure to visit bit.ly/getfreeapplife or freeapplife.com inside of mobile Safari. And then once downloaded, install sponsored apps for points and redeem said points for various prizes, including paid application codes, gift cards, and electronic devices. I thought this would be a good time to announce on video that I am planning on hosting an iPhone 6 giveaway in the future once the device is officially announced and released. So stay tuned for that. And also, if you guys want to be updated more often, such as when I release new videos covering various topics such as jailbreaking, including iOS 8 as well as the iPhone 6, just be sure to like me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, add me one of your circles inside of Google+, follow me on Instagram @ICUID, and subscribe to my secondary YouTube channel at youtube.com/ICUID. And until next time, this is ICU, signing out.